Hello, I'm Linda Bourne with week 2 of Caregivers Corner, a weekly YouTube video series to help you to make the transition into the caregiving role. Last week we talked about holding on to hope, that even with a diagnosis as devastating as Alzheimer's disease, that with medication, some people can experience a time of improvement and there can be a high quality of life after a devastating diagnosis for both the caregiver and for the patient. The trick to it is getting through that transition period, and that's what I'm here to help you with. The helpful hints that I want to share come from my book, My Mom Has Alzheimer's, Inspiration and Help for Caregivers, and I'm going to share with you during these videos much of the information in that book. This week we're going to talk about the steps you should take when a loved one is diagnosed with Alzheimer's or some other debilitating disease that causes them to become dependent on you. The very first thing that I did when my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's was to request prayer from my pastor, from my friends. You need to reach out to whatever support system that you have and solicit their help during this very difficult time. You cannot expect to bear all of the pressure and weight that comes with a diagnosis such as this all by yourself. And so establish a network of support, however you need to do that. That's the first and probably the most important step. We did make sure that my mother had undergone a complete physical evaluation. There are many things that can cause dementia-type symptoms in older people, such as depression. And so those things had to be ruled out. It was pretty extensive testing. It was a difficult time for her and for me. But at the end, we had our diagnosis and we were ready to move forward with what we needed to do. A source of help you shouldn't forget are friends and family in your geographic area who have faced similar challenges to the ones that you're facing. Talk to people, network, talk to your community leaders, talk to your pastor. Find out what facilities have the best reputation in your area. Find out what people are saying about their choices in long-term care and how they feel about it. Sometimes this is just an invaluable source of information for you. I attended several meetings of our local chapter of the Alzheimer's Association support group, and that was the single most helpful thing I did. During that time, I just happened to hit those meetings at the time that they had a presentation called The ABCs of Alzheimer's Care. It helped me so much. So reach out to support groups for whatever your loved one's illness is, both online and locally. That will give you that network of support I was talking about. There are other organizations for every illness. The internet's a wonderful source of information. You can find places you can go, information you can request that will help you along the way. If there's someone in your family that's particularly gifted with doing Google searches, enlist their help. The local Council on Aging was helpful to me. They provided me with a copy of their publication entitled Choosing Your Options, that talked about choices in long-term care and showed us things that were available in our area. Their website was helpful to me also. So reach out for support. That is just an invaluable part of becoming a caregiver and making a successful transition into that role. I obtained durable power of attorney for health care and financial decisions from my mother. And the way we went about this was by, first of all, going about it the wrong way. We just went to the family attorney that we had gone to have wills drawn up and such over the years, and he wasn't an elder law expert, and he made some decisions for us and that we went along with that had to be later undone. It is important to find an attorney who is knowledgeable about elder law. One way to find out about this is to go to the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys, and do a search for your geographic area and find out attorneys that have that membership. That doesn't, of course, assure that they are an excellent attorney, but it does at least tell you that they have an interest in elder law. It's a specialized field. Laws are always changing, Medicaid laws, and you need someone's help who's very knowledgeable about this. We purchased a prepaid burial plan for my mother, and it is now not recommended that you do that. But you need to talk to that elder law expert and find out a way to set aside money that will be free of a Medicaid spend down in a way that it's legal, so that you have money for burial expenses, which is a huge expense nowadays, and you want to protect some money from a spend down that you may have to go through. I'm not an expert on Medicaid, and so I can't counsel you about that, but I can tell you to find someone who is to help guide you through this process. I believe I told you that our elder law attorney helped us to obtain durable power of attorney for healthcare and financial needs. She walked us through getting an in advance contract, which just says that we don't want my mom to be put on life support. We did that early enough in her dementia process that we were all confident she was very well aware of agreeing to that decision. And so that needs to be done, and it needs to be done pretty early on in the process. There are many things to think about, many things to remember. It is important to establish a network of support, and that's the lesson, the helpful hint in this week's video. And I hope I've given you a few things that will help you to get on the path you need to follow when a loved one becomes infirm. Until next week, this is Linda Bourne with Caregivers Corner. Take care.